I follow content creators that have the ultimate trifecta, is what I call TEA. They have their own theories. Their theories like, I believe ... I believe you ought to do this. Great. Then they have experience, which experience means you worked with Steve Jobs and you watched what Steve Jobs did on a daily basis and you worked with him for 5 years. That's very valuable. If I get a chance to work with somebody that watched Steve Jobs for 5 years, I put a lot of value behind you. But it's not the ultimate value, and it's just what makes sense. The ultimate value to me is A, which is application. So the person that has theories and has experience and has application is the person that gives feedback and opinions based on they personally having done it. You're going to learn a lot talking to Steve Jobs about what happened with him versus 28 employees that worked with him versus reading the book of somebody that's never met Steve Jobs writing about his theories. Make sense?
Yeah.
So it all depends on who you're trying to be in a content creator. The content I wanted to create, I'm the guy that's a little bit on the skeptical side when feedback's being given and the content's being given. I want to know who the content's being given to, who it's coming from, where's the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll go and grasp and say, well, you know, these kinds of things are stuff that I'll take from it. All the other stuff, he just probably picked that up from a couple books or mentor that he had. So again, if you're trying to be an expert of experts, the standards and expectations way higher. But if you want to get out there and create content and have telling stories and create a podcast and YouTube and entertain, I mean, it doesn't take much to do that.
Yeah.
Where you want to be in that ranking, that's completely up to you.
Yeah. So
and by the way, you can monetize being at this level versus also monetizing me at the highest level.
Right.
So where do you want to be? That's the question.
What are your particular goals?
What are you solving for? What are you solving for? Like I can't see myself not building a business. It's as if you took Alicia Keys' voice away from her. If I can't build a business and see a business grow and individuals grow on a team and we're solving problems and crises and investors and board meetings and numbers and data and trends and charts and challenges and failures and enemies and all, if I don't see that, I got to wake up going after that. But that's me. Yeah. That doesn't have to be everybody.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that you have to be doing that? Is it DNA? Is it culture? What made you that way, do you think?
I don't know if it's DNA or not, because if I go back and I look at myself, never in my life, here's one thing that most people don't realize. I'm 6'4", I'm 235, I used to be a bodybuilder, I'm pretty athletic, but I've never played organized sports in my life. I don't think people realize this. I don't have a single I've never played high school baseball. I was a great hitter, but I never played high school baseball. I never played basketball. I never played organized football. I've never been part of an organized sports team. So I don't have a part, if somebody were to go investigate my 50 friends, teachers, people that I hung out with in high school and say, who is Patrick Bet-David? Nobody would tell you this guy's going to amount to anything in his life. Nobody would tell you. No one. My counselor, Miss K, said, I feel sorry for your parents.
She said this to you?
She said this to me because my dad had heart attacks. I don't blame him. I would also be having heart attacks if I had a kid like you. There was nothing that somebody would say, this guy's going places. So a teacher named Miss Sinclair believed in me, and she was a major in the U.S. Army. And I said, you're in the Army? Yes. Then I went and sat down with a guy named Jesus Guerra, a recruiter, which I'd love to one day find you, Jesus, wherever you are right now. Jesus, you should probably be today around 50 years old. If anybody knows Jesus Guerra from the Glendale recruiting station, reach out to me. I'd love to speak to you. So Jesus Guerra recruits me at 14, 15 years old, but I don't get recruited until 18 years old. I went and joined the Army. I was 3 years in the Army at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, 101st Airborne, and I was getting ready to re-enlist, go to 18K, 18 Delta, Sears program, go to Vicenza, Italy, do a DLI in Monterey, California, because I spoke 4 or 5 languages, and I was going to go be part of 5th group, and then I was going to do all this other stuff. And then a friend calls and says, you ought to come out. Why? Pat, I don't know if you know or not. I always looked at you as a Middle Eastern Will Smith. Middle Eastern Will Smith. Yeah, because you would make us laugh, and you would tell stories, and you were entertaining, and you were, people liked you, and you had this. I'm like, I've never heard anybody tell me that before. No, of course, that's how we view you. You got to come out. It's cool. One guy believes. I get out. I accidentally meet a girl at Venice Beach named Jean-Vier, who works at Morgan Stanley Dean Widow. We start dating. She picks me up in nice bars, nice cars. We'd go to Dublin's, Hollywood. We'd go out. We'd have a great time. And I'd say, how do you make your money? I'm in financial services. Where do you work at? Morgan Stanley Dean Widow. How do I work there? You need a 4-year degree. I'm not going back to college. They want to hire you. So finally, I got my job there. By the way, I sent out my resume with a cover letter. I put a joke. I said, if this joke makes you laugh, call me. That's exactly how my clients are going to feel when they do business with me. So I sent it to 100 different financial services. 30 of them called me back. They laughed. They said, very funny approach. 15 gave me an interview. 3 gave me an offer. Day before 9/11. Today's 9/12. Day before 9/11, I got into the financial industry, '01. And then I got into it. Then I liked it. Then there was an itch. Then I said, I like this. Then I saw the impact. Then capitalism got into my heart. Then I realized what entrepreneurship could do for every single human being around the world. Around the world, we need to create, we need to be part of a community, and we need to own. When you own something, you have ownership. You have a sense of ownership. You're part of a community. We're trying to create. We're trying to solve issues. Those things collectively together, I said, I want to spread this message for the rest of my life. So now it has become part of my DNA. I can't tell you if it was back in the days, but today it's my air.